Our next storyteller is Sandy Cole. Sandy joined the Around Town Tellers after taking Margaret Murphy's storytelling workshop in 2007. The Around Town Tellers are in their 13th year, so Sandy has been part of ATT for almost all that time. Sandy is known around here for the warmth she brings to her stories. And as our theme is The Last Laugh, she has chosen Why the Armadillos Are Funny, one of them in particular.
Hello, Lee. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome. Welcome. The tale that I'm going to share is Why the Armadillos Are Funny. It's adapted from a folk tale out of Guyana, and it is written by Barbara McBride-Smith. A long time ago, armadillos were not the shy nocturnal creatures that we know today. No, they were proud. They were so full of themselves, they thought the sun rose and set on their funny little faces. They were so friendly. No animal considered them an enemy. The raccoons liked them, the hawks and the eagles liked them, the coyotes and bears and dogs liked them, the cats, well, really. The cats couldn't care one way or another, but all the other animals, they really enjoyed the armadillo's company. Now, one particular armadillo that lived way back then, very homely little guy, was named Apollo. His mother was ugly. His daddy was ugly. And Apollo was uglier than the two of them put together. Armadillos are intended to be ugly by nature. So, as far as armadillos go, Apollo was just about perfect. Now, when Apollo was just a little tyke, he discovered that he was particularly talented at making his friends laugh. He would bug his eyes out and waggle his tongue, and they would all keel over laughing. He was so funny, so friendly. Well, the squirrels, they'd snicker, the iguanas would giggle, the rattlesnakes, their skin would shake with laughter. But one day, Apollo created a new trick to make his friends laugh. He went and hid in a ditch and waited for a passerby to come down the road. And the first one down the road happened to be a speeding along roadrunner. Beep, 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 beep. As soon as Roadrunner was right beside Apollo's hiding place, Apollo dashed out into the road, threw his arms and legs out, jumping as high as he could. In 4 directions his arms and legs went. His hair stood on end. His shell jiggled and jaggled. He bugged out his eyes and he waggled his tongue and he bellowed, "Wah!" Well, the roadrunner came to a screeching stop. "Ah!" went the roadrunner, and thunk, he keeled over in a cross-eyed daze in the road. When Roadrunner gathered himself together and looked around, and he saw that it was just Apollo, and how ridiculous he looked. The Roadrunner started laughing, and all the animals that were hiding in the bush around, they joined in the fun. They started laughing, and they just had the greatest hee-haw time of fun. Apollo was very proud of himself. His parents were extremely proud of him too. His parents actually encouraged his outrageous behavior. His daddy said, "Son, in my opinion, You could use a little more shtick. Try these. They're a hoot." And his father gave him a pair of black plastic-rimmed glasses with big, fuzzy, bushy eyebrows, a huge pink nose, and a black plastic mustache. Now, when he went down to his hiding place to scare the wits out of a passerby, he was even funnier. Apollo could stop any creature, big or small, in their tracks and make them keel over in shock. Laugh and laugh. Along came a bouncing bunny. Boing, 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 boing. Apollo yelled, "Wah! Ah!" yelled the bunny, keeled over backwards. Along came a trotting turkey. Trot, trot, gobble, gobble. Trot, trot, gobble, gobble. Wah! Ah! Plop. He thunked over backwards. Apollo even stopped a stampeding buffalo in its tracks. Along came the buffalo. Glump, glump, glump. Wah! Yelled Apollo. Ah! Yelled the buffalo. Thunk. Oh, he had some humor, that Apollo. Every time he jumped out, the animals would keel over, come to, see Apollo, and just burst out laughing. It was just great humor and fun. Now, Apollo's mother, she believed that good can always, always be better. Try these, she said. And she gave Apollo the funniest hat and a huge, oversized necktie. So off he went down to the ditch, and along came a possum. Hunker-chuck, hunker-chuck, hunker-chuck. Wah! Went Apollo. Ah! Went the possum. Thunk. Now, meanwhile, up in the sky world, Lightning was getting very angry. You see, she was supposed to be the only one that could stop a creature in its tracks and make it keel over in shock. That funny-looking armadillo, he's stealing all my thunder. Thinks he's funny, does he? Oh, she was jealous. I'll show him a trick or two. Well, the next time Apollo went down to the ditch to have some fun, Lightning hid up in the clouds, and she darted, hiding, following Apollo. She kept her presence a secret. Once Apollo was in the ditch, he started giggling and chuckling. I'm going to get somebody. And suddenly, Lightning darted out from the clouds. She grabbed a lightning bolt from her quiver and struck Apollo right on his little noggin. Ah! Went Apollo. His eyes spun. He stood on his nose. He danced on his tail. His armor clacked like false teeth. And he curled up in a ball. Thunk. Then plop. He fainted. Lightning thought this was hilarious. She started laughing. Ha ha ha! He got a real charge out of that. And off she went back into the clouds. Well, sometime later, Apollo woke up and he couldn't see anything. Help! Help! Where am I? Why is it so dark? And Apollo realized that he was wrapped up tight in a ball inside his own shell. He was wrapped up tight with fright. He stretched and he pushed, but try as he could not release himself. He went pushed this way and that way and this way, and then he started to roll down a hill faster and faster, and he couldn't stop himself. Then, bonk, crack, he hit a huge oak tree. His shell split open in 9 places. 9. And out came his little nose, his little legs. And then, clunkety clunk, 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 from the huge oak tree came thousands and thousands of acorns. Well, Apollo was so embarrassed. But he was a trooper. And he hopped up onto his back legs and he looked at the crowd that had gathered. And he bowed. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you all enjoyed my trick. The crowd was so relieved. They started laughing and applauding. Lightning found herself laughing like crazy when she saw all those acorns raining down. She heard herself cackling like a chicken, and then it dawned on her that he was stealing all of her thunder. That was her trick. She got so mad, she reached into her quiver again and she threw another lightning bolt. But she was laughing, and her aim was off. She missed Apollo, and the lightning bolt landed in the grass right in front of him. Sparks flew, the grass sizzled, and the earth opened. And out from the earth came big, fat, juicy earthworms. "Oh," said Apollo, "yum, yum, time for dinner." And Apollo scooped up handfuls of those earthworms and started shoving them into his mouth, chomping and chewing with his mouth wide open, and worms gushing and gooing down his face, and his eyes bugging out in utter delight. Oh, the crowd started to laugh and laugh. "He is disgusting," they said. "Disgustingly funny." They all keeled over in laughter. And that's when Lightning realized Apollo had won the trick of wits. There was no way she was going to get the better of him. She went back up into the clouds. She never bothered those armadillos again. And that, my friends, is how a little armadillo named Apollo taught all of his friends a very special lesson. A special lesson. That sometimes the best defense against your enemy is to make that enemy laugh. The end. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandy. One would have thought that there would be no contest between a little armadillo and Lightning, but not so when even Lightning has a funny bone. In 1917, W.E. Neeson wrote a book of poems that twisted well-known proverbs, and he said this in one of those poems: "If laughter be an aid to health, then logic of the strongest impels us to the cheerful thought that he who laughs lasts longest."